Hi, hey, and hello there. Behind here, and welcome back to the Comic High Ground. Alright, so I got a chance to see Antman and The Wasp Quantamania, and I decided that I would give my thoughts on it. Now, I might be kind of scrambled here because not like I could jot down notes in the movie theater, but I can basically talk about what I saw and what I thought about it. First of all, I want to say the critics, right? Critics are critics, and they have this skewed way of looking at things that they're these quote unquote officials and these movie buffs or whatever, cinema this, cinema that, and they have their own lens and way of looking at things. So I definitely I didn't care about the cinema. I'm sorry, the critic score going into this. Like I don't really care about Rotten Tomatoes, right? But it's funny because the way people usually are is like they see a good Rotten Tomato score is like, oh yeah, yeah, that means this movie is awesome. You can't Rotten Tomatoes said it's a 99%, right? So that is amazing. But then the same people will be like, well, Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 50. So they don't know what they're talking about. It's Rotten Tomatoes. They're critics. Who cares what they say? So it's always funny how people or pick and choose when to use Rotten Tomatoes as a argument, because sometimes they all they care about is the Rotten Tomatoes score when it's in their favor, and then other times it's like, well, they don't know what they're talking about. Again, we're talking about a bunch of critics here, and a lot of them kind of have this, they have this high and mighty way of looking at things sometimes. So when I went into the movie, I was like, okay, well, I already know what the critics think, and I'm not really too concerned about that. I was excited to see Jonathan Majors as Kang and see what he brought to the table. And for the most part, I would say that I definitely I was happy with his performance. Like and by the way, there might be some spoilers in this video, so be cautious on that. But yeah, he Jonathan Majors came in and like his first not his first appearance on screen in the movie, but later on when he actually showed up in Kang form, he had this air of like just intensity about him. Like you knew that he wasn't someone to be trifled with, and his first action, if you will, it kind of caught me off guard because he kind of did this thing to Scott, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, we're jumping right in here, okay. But yeah, no, Jonathan Majors did a damn good job as Kang for what they gave him, because obviously this is still Ant-Man's movie, so it's not like we're gonna just see Kang, 90% of the time. We saw him a good bit, but Kang is still the bad guy when it's all said and done. So as far as Ant-Man itself, from his side of things, it's Scott moving forward from what happened in Endgame. It's showing how his life has changed since they've saved the world and the universe and everything, and he's not really kind of like prior to this movie and the other movies. Ant-Man 1 and 2, he was just trying to make ends meet, and he was just kind of yeah, he was always kind of not, I don't want to say down and out, but he was struggling. And the first movie, he had just gotten out of jail, and he was trying to make things right with his daughter and everything. And he met Hank Pym, or rather Hank Pym met him, found him, I should say. And we all know how that went. And then the second movie, he was on house arrest, being watched by the government, and then Hope and everybody had to get him out because of a situation that was going on with that. So this movie starts very different from the other ones insofar that he is actually happy, his life is going well, everybody loves him, and for the most part, everybody knows who he is, or they know he's a hero at least, because the one guy in the restaurant calls him Spider-Man, which is hilarious. But other than that, yeah, Scott's life is going a lot better now than what it was in the other movies. But anyway, we fast forward. His daughter Cassie, who's being played by a new actress now, and much to the dismay of a lot of people online, because everybody's fussing about that too. And people have to find a way to complain about everything, I guess. But I had no problem with it because, for one, I know that actress, I believe, is from Supernatural, so I was like, oh, hey, a familiar face. But anyway, she did a good job. Cassie wasn't the typical like annoying kid that you would see in these type of movies. She or teen. She had reasoning behind the stuff she did, and she wasn't just in the way, which is usually what you see in these type of things. Um, she, for the most part, did what she was told. There's a couple moments here and there where she didn't, or where she leapt forward and did this that, and the other. But for the most part, she was cool too. Hank Pym and Janet, they both were in this movie. Well, Hank was in the movies, the other two movies, a good bit, but I think Janet was the real focus of this movie because it is definitely about what happened when she was in the quantum realm all those years, and it touches on a little bit about what she dealt with, and you get to see how accustomed she had gotten to the quantum realm, because when they all get zapped into the quantum realm, it's like she just kind of takes charge and knows what to do and how to talk to people. Like she just takes the lead, and it was awesome seeing her in that kind of lead role. Now, most of the movie, you see they're kind of in different. They're in different spots. You got Scott's group and you got Hank, Janet, and Hope, and they each have their own things going on in the movie, and it's basically one of those situations where they're trying to get to each other, but they each again have different things that's going on, but each path ultimately leads them to Kang. Um, and like I said, Kang he's like no, he's not for any mess, right? Like he doesn't play. He's not for any mess. He doesn't play, and he wants what he wants done when he asks for it. Like that's just pretty much how he is. Now, interestingly enough, he does have this moment where he's kind of talking to Scott, and he's telling them that he's the only one who can prevent something that's going to happen in the future or in the coming days. He really didn't elaborate how long it would take. He just said he's the only one who can help. So we don't know. Oh, well, let me rephrase that. We do know what he's talking about. I'm not gonna say it in this video because I don't want to really lean too much into spoilery stuff. I would like you all to have the experience for yourselves. But he does elaborate on what it is he's talking about. But again, it's one of those situations where you look at Kang, and Kang is supposed to be the next big bad. I'm sorry, of the MCU, and his first appearance technically was in Loki, but his first appearance as an antagonist was technically in Ant-Man. And you kind of look at it, especially if you're a comic book fan, and you're like, Kang's first appearance is in Ant-Man? And that's what I thought when I first heard the news. I was like, Ant-Man? Y'all put Kang up against Ant-Man. This guy is like an Avengers level threat, and you put him up against Ant-Man for his first appearance. And honestly, I still don't know why they chose to do it like that. I mean, I think they handled it decently. Kang was, in a way, I don't want to say he was depowered, but he wasn't exactly as powerful as he could be, I believe, because the whole premise for him is that he's stuck in the quantum realm and he's trying to get out. So again, it's one of those things where we definitely can expect to see more out of Kang when we see him in his other appearances. I don't know if he's going to appear in any other Avengers movies. I'm sorry, any other characters movies before Avengers or not. But he definitely, I would expect to be doing more in the future. And based on the after credit scene or the mid credit scene, it leads me to believe that he might pop up in someone else's movie before Avengers because of what that scene consists of. But I don't know, and I might do a different video talking about the after credit scenes. Obviously, that'll be definitely more spoiler filled, and I'll kind of give my own opinions on what that is. But aside from that, like I said, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but again, I didn't just jot down notes per se. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head when I'm doing this review. The plot of the movie was really good in my opinion. I know some people talk about pacing issues, but I think it got along pretty nicely. There's a lot of information that they have to tell you in this movie, because there's a lot about Kang. There's stuff about the quantum realm. There's a little bit more about the multiverse. and everything. Is like there's a lot they're trying to cram into this 2 hour movie, and in any other circumstance, you would probably say that that's too much, and maybe they did put a lot in this movie, but I think it worked for what they were trying to do. There's a certain scene where if you've seen the trailers, you see the scene with Scott, and there's like a whole bunch of other Scotts or Ant-Man around him, and it's like what's going on, and that's in the movie they call it that a probability storm, I believe. Which the explanation for that, it had me for a second because I was like, I had to stop for a second while I was in the theater, and I was like, wait, what? And it makes you think a little bit, and it's like after they explain it to you, you think a little bit like, oh, okay, I got it. But yeah, other than that, the movie itself, I would say, if I had to give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, I would actually give it like an 8.5. Yeah, I think that's fair. The things I'm not sure what all people are complaining about. At this point, I think it's just a popular thing to talk about the MCU. That's just what people do. Is like is you're cool if you talk noise about the MCU, right? You're like, oh yeah, the MCU this that. But it's not as it's not as bad as people were trying to make it out to be. Phase 4, as I said in the other video, was an issue, but it's not an issue that they can't fix. And I would say, because I know some people were saying that there were some Phase 4 issues glaring in this particular movie, but I would say that it really wasn't that bad. Um, this one really did feel a little more so close to the Phase 3 ish style, even though it was definitely made during the Phase 4 time. So that thought process was going on during the making of this movie, but other than that, it was definitely there's nothing they were really trying to preach to you or anything like that. It was just, in my opinion, just a good movie. So yeah, I've rambled on long enough though. Like I said, I think you should definitely give Quantamania a go. Just don't pay attention to the critics. Don't pay attention to the people online who are talking noise, this, that, and the other. Go and get your own opinion of it, right? Um, and I guess a lot of people also have like these high expectations of the MCU movies too, because they expect everything to be an Infinity War or something like that nowadays. But it's like you gotta understand that Infinity War have been built up. They're still trying to. They're back in the process of building up. So we're essentially like in a phase 1 situation again, where they're trying to get all their puzzle pieces or all their chess pieces and put them together to form this team of Avengers that they're gonna have. Now I saw a rumor recently that said that Spider-Man might be the new face of the Avengers, which would be a good idea, in my opinion. I'm not gonna go into that right now, but yeah, I think that definitely would be a good idea. So anyway, like I said, Antman and the Wasp: Quantumania, 8.5 out of 10. I say really good movie. It was fun. It was a really fun movie too. Paul Rudd, of course, he knocked it out of the park, which he always does. Evangeline Lilly, she didn't have as much to do, but she still did a good job. Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer really carried too. Her and Jonathan Majors really carried the movie big time. And that's not to say that no one else was doing their part. It's just that they were so integral in what the movie was that they couldn't help but carry. But yeah, other than that, yeah, that's my review of Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, drop a comment, let me know if you're going to see it, and if you have saw it, what you thought about it, and hit that subscribe button. And hey, look, we have the high ground. Catch you later.